Hey guys, it's me. So it's late, obviously it's like 10 o'clock at night, but I kind of just banged out a piece, and I feel like I wrote it out, but I wanted to share it. It's probably a part of the mania that still lies in me, but it has to do with my depression and where I've been in my past, and there's a family member slipping away right now, and I kind of felt the need to grip onto something, and instead of my old standby, which is anger, I sort of felt, looking at my kids, that there's a way to move on. So I wrote about kind of my feelings and what it's like to have depression in the past and then have children, and maybe how others might be feeling about having children. So I'll read it to you because I think it comes off better spoken than it does on the page. So thanks for listening. At one point, long before I had children, I figured, hey, you've done a lot of bad shit. Maybe don't have kids. But like many other people in this world, I met a man I loved and we made a baby and then another. And somewhere in between me cutting down on the amount of straight whiskey shots I was taking and the weekly races I run from spring to fall, I had come to realize I stopped scrubbing the floors until my cuticles bled and tears fell. Most times I felt frustration, the anger that came flooding after, the thoughts of hurt and pain and anguish, those all kind of, well, they just stopped. I always wanted children, but that's a hell of a lot different than having them. I want to win the lottery too, but I don't play the lottery, and as you can guess, I have had sex. So I have 2 kids and no lottery winnings. I digress. What I mean is the part of me that liked to cut up my arms and burst into anger and more than contemplated suicide just went away. But what if I gave it to them? I recently spoke to a woman who had lost her son to depression, and yes, I said lost her son to depression, because if you think depression is a choice, or even suicide at the point of execution, then you're ignorant to what depression is. Depression is not being sad for a few days or about one specific thing. It's a spiral into hell. It's the deepest part of your psyche lost in a blackness that none would dare imagine. It's the point of losing feeling, mental and physical. If you've ever said, Irma Gerd, like I know I was so depressed after that test, then you have no fucking idea what depression is. That being said, I spoke to a woman who had lost her son to depression. And as I listened to her, my insides tore apart. I could feel blood pouring out of my veins and spilling into my body. I was becoming weak. I knew in those moments, as her words flooded my ears, I'd done all this to my mother. Except I lived. And now I was as guilty as torturing my mother as I was of surviving the insanity of bipolar disorder. And then the ringing in my ears stopped and my head cleared, and I glanced down, and on my breast laid a sleeping babe, her skin as pale and creamy as the most perfect complexion could be described. Her chest slowly rising and falling, gentle whimpers leaving her lips, small fingers pulsing on my back. What if I gave it to her? Depression is a demon. It finds you staring back at you in the mirror at 2 a.m., sober as a judge, wondering why you're awake. Better yet, why were you born? And the mania? That plays a role too. It's lurking behind every plan you've ever attempted to make. Not letting you leave on time because you didn't make the bed and the coffee pot is on and you haven't slept in days and the phone might ring. What if the phone rings and you're not home and you need to turn around and go back because just one more thing? And it's obsession and love and the worst hate and depression and deepest pain, and you never know what your day might bring, or even if you want the whole day to happen. What if you just end it now? What if I gave it to them? My girls, my reason for living. My lowest lows seem to be gone and my highest highs controlled. I seem to be okay. My tears flow without anger or guilt or resentment or fear. Sometimes they're just tears, and that's kind of, well, normal. And that's okay. But what if I gave it to them, and what if he blames me? And what happens if we lose our loves to depression because of me? Being a parent is not fun sometimes. Sometimes it's the scariest, most guilt-ridden thing I can think one can do to themselves. And damn it, sometimes all we can do is pray we didn't pass it on.